Hey lovelies, shall we paint some Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine, Mystery Inc. characters then? Right, so I have this printout just to give me basic colours. And yeah, I'm probably going to start off with Fred because he's just white and blue mostly. And we've got the ghost figure as well that I printed off. I shall obviously paint the ghost white as well. But I'm actually not going to start off at white. I'm actually going to start off with Ulthwan Grey. Or Ulthwan Grey. Because I find this a really great base coat, which you can then put white onto afterwards. So, base colours going down. I'm not using a detail brush at the moment because most of these are block colours, especially on this fella. So yeah, I mean, white sheet, what are you going to do? In this case, you're not going to call Ghostbusters because it's not a ghost. It's Mr. Perkins. He would have gotten away with it if it hadn't been for them damn pesky kids. Right. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, and with the characters, I have sprayed them using Wraithbone, which is my lightest spray that I have. Just as obviously the primer to go onto the print resin, and the print resin is Elegoo 2.0 ABS-like resin, or is it ABS-like resin 2.0? One of the two. But yeah, literally we are just coming in and coating the minis. So the ghost is getting done, and Fred's shirt will be done as well. So Fred normally sports a white shirt, and the Ulthwan Grey is a really good starting point for white. Now, do I paint these grim dark, you know, grime them up a little bit, or do I just make them bright, bold, cartoon colours? That's the question. I haven't quite decided. Now, Shaggy's pants are more of a dirty orange, which I have squig orange, which I'm gonna look at layering on just to see what that looks like. But if I don't like it, I'm gonna make his pants brown as well, his trousers brown. And then we got Fred has blue trousers. Blue trousers for Fred. So for that, I'm going to use Calgar Blue. Scooby was Mornfang Brown. So Calgar Blue for Fred's pants. And he's also got a collar on his white shirt, which is the same blue. I'm going to bring the light into this just so that I can see what I'm doing. The lamp, the magnifier, because I am old. This blue actually covers quite well. So there we go. Oops, I've got some blue paint on Shaggy. That's not good. Right, his collar. That should do. Let's pop you aside. Hey, right, so I'm going to come in and do some highlighting on the white ghost here, as well as Fred's shirt. I do need to correct his cravat. I painted it green instead of red. But yeah, so essentially I'm just sort of like the higher raised areas are just getting a light dabbing of white in order to obviously give some shadow and highlights on the ghost without coming in with a heavy black wash, essentially. And I'm using white scar for this. So although Ulthuan grey is a grey, it's a very pale grey, and because of that it works well for subtle variation tones, shading, etc. for something like this ghost. So this is going to get the white highlights on anything which I think is raised detail, and then I'm going to do the same with Fred's shirt, and just essentially allow the grey to then be the shade, as it were. So yeah, come back in a sec. Right, now Daphne. Daphne wears a purple dress. The only kind of purple I've got is this shyish purple, which I think is really dark. So I may, and it's a contrast. So what I might do is put some in there, and then I've got pink horror, and I'm hoping if I use pink horror, it's going to knock it down a little. Okay, I'm not sure about that. I'm going to need to, I think I need to get it on and let it dry and see what it looks like. Maybe a little bit. in with a little bit more. So we can mix these things. So having knocked that back slightly, still quite dark. I'm not entirely sure. Right, so Daphne has some bands on her dress and a hairband which are pink. So I'm just going to come in, and she has 2 bands on the skirt of her dress and her sleeves are pink. And I'm going to use pink horror for this. And her shoes are pink as well. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to start off with the lower band. So she has a band on the hem. And then there's a second band, just a little way up about there. Her wrists have a pink band. And then her shoes are this colour as well. So I'm going to finish that off, and then we've got a few more little detail things to finish off, and then I'll think about, I still haven't decided how. I think I'm going to leave them cartoony, you know, brighter colours. I'm not going to dull them down too much, but I need to come in and do a few highlights in places and a few other little details. Shaggy, smooth Velma. Right, let's have a look at this squig orange and see what that, because that's quite a brown. I mean, it may dry a little bit lighter in it. I think it kind of reflects more Shaggy's, the colour for Shaggy's trousers. So I printed these out for fun, because I also noted that some of these characters, people are writing D&D character sheets for them, and I just think it would be really fun to do an adventure, a Mystery Inc. adventure, using these guys as the characters in that adventure. Right, now Shaggy's t-shirt is green. It's quite a bright green. The brightest green I've got is like Elysian green, which is quite leery. I've also got this moot green, which I think might be better suited. If I've got any left. Yeah, I've got a little bit left. So I might need to just come in with that squig orange, do a little bit of touch up on Shaggy's backside. Now obviously Shaggy here is eating a packet of crisps. I'm not at that artistic, so I'm not going to try and replicate a crisp packet. I might just make it like a brown paper bag and he's munching like some homemade snacks or something out of it. But that is what Shaggy looks like at the moment. Right, and Thelma is orange, and I'm going to do a corn red skirt, I think. And she's got the orange socks, so she's kind of like, she's a bit of a redhead herself. So I'm going to use corn red for her skirt, and I'm going to use Troll Slayer orange for her top and socks. Chances are that I might need to do a couple of passes with the orange. And with Thelma, like I said, I think her skirt is more of a corn red. So I'm going to come in and base it with corn red. I might highlight it up with something brighter. And I'm going to come in and just do her shoes as well, but I'm just going to come in and do the underside of her pleated skirt here. And then she's got these shoes on, which are also a red. So they're going to get done. Took the opportunity whilst I had the orange out from doing Thelma and the squig orange from doing Shaggy's trousers to do Thelma's hair, Shaggy's hair and Daphne's hair. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to come in with Bugman's Glow to do the skin. And this is going to be, I'm going to do this as the base for every miniature that has skin showing. So basically Shaggy, Thelma, Daphne and Fred. So come back and they'll all be pink skin. Hey lovelies, right, so each the 4 main characters have had Bugman's Glow added, and what I'm going to do is I've come in and I've used Kislev Flesh to lighten up the Bugman's Glow, and I'm going to use that as the layer on their skin. Basically the highlights are coming in now, and that is how I'm going to basically pink out their skin tones a lot more, because obviously the Bugman's Glow is actually quite dark, and that is, as I say, as you can see, you can probably see the lighter tone as I put it down Daphne's legs here. And then I'll do a final highlight after I'm only going to put a wash on the face and the hands of each of these, just to darken up the recesses between the fingers and the eye sockets and lips and things. And then do a final highlight of majority Kislev flesh and a little bit of Bugman's Glow. Okay, so 2 things now. 3 things actually. Let's go 3. The first one is Fred's hair. So Fred's hair is yellow in the picture, and what I've done is I've given it a base of Avalon Sunset, and I'm now going to highlight it with Uriel Yellow. To be honest, this is probably going to be okay straight out the pot. Literally, I'm just looking at kind of like anywhere where there's a parting. And certainly brightest on the top of his head. And right the way round the back of the neck. I'm not going to go all the way down, just because that's probably going to be a little shaded. And that so there's kind of like a quiff going on the front of his hair. And there you go. That's what we've done with his hair. Now, his shoes are kind of like a snakebite leather brown. So I've got this Baylor brown, which is what I'm going to use for his shoes. And then I need to correct his cravat, his neckerchief, because I painted it green. Made the mistake of painting it green when it's not, it's red. So I'm probably going to come in with Mephiston red to begin with, and then use something like Wild Rider red to highlight it. Okay, right, and then Mephiston red for the win on the neckerchief, cravat, whatever it is you want to call it. I'm also going to use this Mephiston Red to just give highlights to Thelma's skirt. And then I shall add in some highlights to some of the other bits and pieces. Right, Wild Rider Red coming in and just doing some highlights on Fred's scarf. So little dab on the knot, just the tops where it's uppermost here, and then like so. Nothing too extreme. Right, Thelma, her skirt is going to get some Mephiston Red highlights. Again, nothing too extreme. So I'm just literally catching the biggest creases, and that's all I'm going to do. Right. So Thelma's looking glass, magnifying glass, has basically received a black rim. Her glasses have received a black rim, and then because of the way that it's been printed and molded, all I've done is I've just, to give the obviously the impression that there's something behind the glasses, I've just dabbed in some flesh coloured spots onto the glasses lenses to give the impression that they're not like sunglasses, if you know what I mean. And with the thing, with the magnifier, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get a tiny little dab of Macragge blue and then water it down quite a bit. And then this, I'm just going to dab on to the magnifier. More water. So, and how this settles and pulls with any sort of like light and dark shading parts to it is how I'm going to leave it. I'm then not going to do anything else. Right, bases. So I'm just going to have them on concrete. So I'm going to come in with Dark Reaper to do the bases. And what I tend to do is I tend to water my, when I come in and do bases, I tend to water the paint down a bit more than usual so that it flows into all the grains. Now I've used texture paint on these bases rather than PVA glue and then sand, but essentially what I'm just going to do is come in and I'll probably do this a couple of times, and then I'm going to dry brush it with slightly lighter greys to give it a tarmacy type look. I will probably, before I do that though, I will probably give it a wash of Nuln Oil to darken it down, but I don't want it too dark because, I mean, tarmac is blackish, but normally when it's fresh and just been sort of like laid, it's quite dark, and as it dries and settles, then it tends to lighten up and become greyer. The flecks of the stones, etc., come through more. So that's what I'm going to do. So come back. What we're going to do, right? Let's do Scooby, shall we? So Scooby, Scooby's just brown according to the printout that I did. With black spots, basically. That's Scoob. But I'm wondering if I might just make him perhaps brown on the outside, and then, because you see a lot of dogs, you know, they've got an undercoat in the belly, you know, and just do that a different colour. Maybe. So I think maybe just start off painting him that far. I can always change my mind later on. Okey-dokey. Right, Scoob. Scooby's collar is, in some it looks turquoise, in others it's blue, in other pictures, reference material. So I'm going to go with blue because that's what I've got. And then we're going to come on to his spots. Now I've had difficulty trying to find some really clear pictures of Scooby's black spots on his coat. So I'm going to have to wing it a little bit, I think, in how we do that. Right, so Scooby has quite a large black spot on his back, and he has a couple of different black spots on his legs, or his front legs anyway, and looking I'm trying to, I think, so he's kind of got, from what I can see, he's kind of got like a, a spot there, patch there, which kind of looks like that. And then I think he's got one here, and then one here, and then kind of like a triangular spot here. Sort of thing. So yeah, I'm still trying to find a reference photo which gives me a clearer picture of Scoob, but I will obviously then continue once I found that. I'll just continue doing his spots on his body and come back one of them. Okay, so I managed to find a picture of I think it was a Scooby-Doo Happy Meals toy, which kind of gave me the spot positions for Scooby-Doo. So he kind of has two on each sort of like shoulder and leg. Well, two on the shoulder, one on each shoulder, sorry. One on each shoulder and one on each sort of like foreleg. And then this sort of like black patch, which is kind of like a saddle over his back. I then did it off camera, but I've added in some eyes, some whites of his eyes. I am going to attempt to dot them in, but I'm going to do that off camera because I'm too much of a coward to show you the really bad attempt. But what I'm going to do is, he's got his little doggy disc here. Now, the descriptions that I've read say that it's gold with teal inlay. To be honest, I'm just going to go gold. Like so. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'll do the eyes and then we'll do the turntable shot so that you get to see the finished minis. Alright, see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.